Hello and welcome to a cloudier than normal day out here in Okotoks, Alberta. Siemens Stadium, the home of the Okotoks Dawgs. My name's Conrad Krautsford. I'll be bringing you today's game between your hometown Okotoks Dawgs and the visiting Giants out of Fort McMurray. Of course, obviously, our thoughts are with the surrounding areas of Fort Mac, with dealing with immense wildfires, and the smoke has obviously come down south here a few times this year. But Fort Mac, a beautiful northern part of our province, but getting to come down south here. The Dawgs open today with a 10-6 record on a 2-game win streak after clearing the weekend series against the Energy City Cactus Rats. And then on the visiting side, Fort McMurray, they enter at 5-10 on the year, but they come in after picking up one against the Lethbridge Bulls over their weekend set. They played Lethbridge a lot. They actually played a 4-game set coming down south, and they went on a 50-50 split with those same Bulls. A little bit of a lineup shuffle as per usual with your Dawgs, but I'll read you the defensive left to right. Starting out in left field with Caden Williams, Jake Skaggs, Zane Scansey draws into the lineup for the Dawgs in right field. Connor Croson on the hot corner at third, and then the return of Ricardo Sanchez. Ricky coming back after the wedding of his brother, who is also a former Dawg. So once again, shout out to the Sanchez family. At second today is Eric Matchy, and Steven Elsner is at first. Chase Logan will be handling the catching duties for Brady Baltus today, and Barry Eisman, your designated hitter. But you'll hear those all called out a little bit later. For the Giants, we'll do the same. We'll go defensively left to right. Elijah Oleball is in left. Connor Martin, I had to search him up on Point Streak today because he is actually listed as a pitcher, but today he'll be playing center field. Connor Rainey in right. Zach Kavanaugh at third. Darcy Berry at short. Miles Murphy at second. Matt Rhodes handling the duties at first, and Nick Save handling the catching duties today for the Giants. And Ash Amarlo will be on the mound. And just wandering their way in is our umpires for today's affair. Home plate is Marcel Rosetto, first base Corey Davis, and third base Mike Richards. And no, not the same one that does a morning show in Southern Alberta. So that gets you set for today's midweek affair. And as per usual, when Fort Mac comes to town, they do get a pair of games. So it is going to be the same affair tomorrow here from Siemens Stadium, as a bit of that southern road swing for the Giants. Yeah, an extended one away from home for the men from Fort McMurray, as they look to reverse their fortunes. They currently, as I said, sit 6th in the Western Division, only above the Brooks Bombers. So they look to improve their standing. I'm sure that the coaching staff not too happy with the current results, and obviously not too happy we see Solomon Harwood, the Connors State Community College player, listed as unavailable. It's never something you want to see if you are looking at roster construction, to see someone on that DL or unavailable to be selected list. It's a little harder to get some of these guys up to Fort McMurray. And as I said, it's a cloudy day here, and I don't want to jinx anything, but there has been thunder in the area a little bit earlier in the day. Of course, we see Lou Pote just out there explaining some of the differences of the field this year. They do have the signage advertisement now on the poles this year out here in Okotoks, extending those foul poles into play. Marcel Rosetto should know that. He's been umpire a lot here in Okotoks this year. And if you're in Southern Alberta, reminder, tomorrow is half price night. So if you have nothing to do on your Wednesday, I can think of one place I'd want to be. Peter Klein will be in the booth with you here tomorrow. But half price night out here at Siemens Stadium, one of the most beautiful places to be in Southern Alberta. You get some pretty darn good baseball. So we hope the cloud cover remains just clouds, as it is only 18 degrees Celsius according to Statistics Canada. And the weather is blowing out to center field, the wind gusting up to 20 kilometers an hour. But before I say anything more, we'll hand it off to Logan and the promo crew to start today's ball game off.
Right past us, it's going to be a beautiful night. Thank you for coming out to beautiful Siemens Stadium. We got ourselves a great matchup tonight. We got ourselves Giants versus Dawgs. It's going to be great. And of course, tonight a very special night. If you are in the healthcare profession, I want you to raise your hand because tonight is Healthcare Heroes Night. I see a couple over there, a couple over here. Big round of applause for all of those that work in the healthcare industry. Thank you so much for taking time to come hang out with us here at Siemens Stadium. So thank you so much. Let's get things started the way we normally do. And that is, of course, with our Serene Fine Jewelry Dog of the Day. Today is a fun one, a fine one. Put your hands together because today's dog of the day is Andy Peterson. Coach Peterson comes to us from Lynn Benson Community College, from which he has brought us many, many dogs. He's been with the Dawgs for 10 years now. We're excited to have him back, but to talk about it a little bit more, Will Gardner. Oh, we've got something special. Will Gardner, take it away.
Hey, thank you very much, Logan. We do want to welcome Andy Peterson back. Our pitching staff is complete. There are no empty chairs at the table, and we're delighted that Andy is joining us for his 10th season. We want to take a moment and congratulate the head coach from Lynn Benton, as his team has won for the second year in a row the NWAC Championship. A big round of applause on that achievement. And we want to recognize that for 3 out of 4 years, Lynn Benton have gone to those NWAC championships, and a lot of it has to do with this gentleman right here. Welcome back, Andy. 10 years with the Dawgs. Thanks for all you do for us. Fans, let's welcome and congratulate Andy Peterson. And now up to the press box. Hey, Mike, let's have tonight's starting lineup.
Waters, Tover,
Dawgs fans, here is tonight's starting lineup for your Okotoks Dawgs. Leading on out of Pittsburgh State University, the shortstop, number 8, Ricky Sanchez. Standing second out of Pittsburgh State University, the left fielder, number 2, Hayden Williams. Batting third out of Campbell State University, the right fielder, number 12, Davis Kinsey. Leading up that out of Reinhardt University, designated hitter, number 28, Larry Hudson. Hitting fifth out of the University of Montevallo, third baseman, number 10, Connor Robson. Batting sixth out of Pittsburgh State University, the center fielder, number 3, Jake Skaggs. Batting seventh out of Bellevue University, the first baseman, number 38, Stephen Elsner. Batting eighth out of Illinois State University, the second baseman, number 38, Eric Maggi. Batting ninth out of Lake Bend Community College, the catcher, number 16, Chase Logan. And on the mound tonight out of New Mexico State, number 24, Brady Alberta.
To be able to move your past mentality sergeant and sing on the national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Welcome back to Dawgs Baseball. Baseball fans, as the cloud cover does seem to be making its way past Siemens Stadium, so let's hope it stays that way. As you've already had one rain delay over the last week, we're hoping to avoid another. But we are super lucky to be out here on a cooler than normal summer day, and on the mound for the Dawgs is Brody Baltus. Get that graphic off for you, but Brady Baltus, as I said, on the mound, he's 1-0 with a 1.5 ERA in his single start of the year. Struck out 6 in a gem against Sylvan Lake here on the 10th. Went 6 innings. Did have 1 error, but only walked 1, so not too bad for the New Mexico State University product. The 6'2" righty out of Portland, Oregon. We'll get his last warm-up throw in here, and it's it down to Ricardo Sanchez. Welcome back, Ricky, as he spent the last, let's call it a week, down in Mexico City, Mexico, or La Ciudad de Mexico if you are a Spanish speaker. That will head to the leadoff man for the Giants, and that'll be Elijah Olibal. Olibal batting at .294 this year. Takes the first pitch from Baltus. Baltus finds the top of the strike zone. Called a first strike. So 7:06, we're actually a minute early for once out here in Okotoks. Here comes the second offering, and Oliball will chop that one right to Connor Croson. Croson had to double clutch, but does record the out. He'll pass the torch to Miles Murphy, listed as a third baseman and a third baseman only, but he's playing second today. Played in 13 games so far this year for the Giants and batting a .217. He'll stare down Baltus. Takes a called strike for strike number one. Played against Lethbridge, but did not have an at-bat. So probably came in as a defensive substitution there on the 15th in the win. Came to the plate 4 times against Lethbridge on the 14 and didn't get on base. Had a strikeout in that matchup as well. Fouls this one off towards the Duvernay Fieldhouse, so he's down an 0-2 hole to Baltus. Baltus doesn't like the first sign. Nods at the second. He delivers. Just a bit outside. Let's go to 2-1. Seen this a couple times. Dawgs pitchers get ahead 2-0 and then they try and get batters chasing. So you have to think that might be the methodology for Baltus. Baltus says, I'll show you the high heat. Laid off well here by Murphy. The 2-2 to Murphy. Swings, and that one will bloop off the end of his bat. Reaching back over his head to make the catch will be Eric Matchey. And 2 Giants up, 2 Giants down. That'll hand off to Darcy Berry, the returning player for the Giants, one of a few. Batting .314 on the year. Went 1 for 4 Sunday against the Bulls. Takes a first catch painted on the outside corner. Not much argument coming from Barry. 0-1 the count. Baltus working very well against the top of this Giants order. Takes the sign and the pitch. Painted that outside corner once again. A 2-0 count, and looked like Chase Logan had his glove come apart. Broke a seam on it, so he'll have to borrow another catcher's mitt. Looks like it's Jason Areola striding out there to give him his mitt. Doesn't have the wrist guard like Logan's does, and it's always got to be awkward. The catcher's mitt is kind of one of those things you can't just change out. But the second Logan to catch for the Dawgs takes that one, just missing the top of the strike zone. So you have to think when he's on the bench, he'll try and cinch those laces, tie him back up. Matchup here between Barry and Baltus. Baltus tries to find that outside corner once again, but good discipline here from Barry. 2-2 the count. Batting .314, pretty good for where the Giants are in this season. 15 games played coming into today. And swing and a miss. A K for the Dawgs as they sit down the Giants in order. We'll be back to see if the bats can wake up when we open up the bottom half of the first here on Flow Sports.
The first inning is presented by Capital Direct, specializing in home equity and residential mortgage financing for individuals in a variety of credit situations. Visit CapitalDirect.ca to learn more.
So the Dawgs trying to open up the bottom half of this first inning as they sit atop the Western Division. They got a couple teams breathing down their neck. Lethbridge and Sylvan both just half a game back, and Sylvan, don't look now, they're on a 3-game win streak. But that will welcome back the fan favorite Ricardo Sanchez. Ricky steps in the batting box. And good to see Andy Pedersen standing over at third base. Lou Pote had been holding that down while Andy, the head coach for Lynn Benton Community College, was finishing up their playoff season. But good to see the infielders coach back into his batter's box on that third base line. Ricky takes a called first strike, and Ricky got back yesterday from his in-season sabbatical. So his first live AB since getting back into Canada. The Pittsburgh State University product finishing his final year of NCAA eligibility. His final year here in the WCBL as well. Swings over the top of that offering into a 1-2 hole. Staring down Ash Amerlan. Amerlan, 245, but has picked up 2 losses on the year so far. Amerlan the pitch, and just a safety swing there from Ricky. Nearly put that into his own dugout. Amerlan, the lefty, 6'1", out of Montserrat College. He has played in 4 games, started 2, so has 11 innings pitched. 24 strikeouts already on the season for Amerlan. As Ricky in the 1-2 here, and then gets the changeup right across the heart of home plate, and not how Ricky managed in his return to Okotoks. But now will hand off to Caden Williams for the Dawgs. Williams out of Emporia, Kansas. His second year as a Dawg, batting .275 on the year. Not so far behind .307 from last year. Went 1 for 6 against Energy City on Sunday. Takes a called strike in at the knees. 0-1. Williams already in his 11th game of the year so far. He's rotated in with Scansy Skaggs and a couple of the other Dawgs outfielders. And he'll peel this one off around the logo of the bat. They'll hop, skip around the fence, get onto the berm. So Williams down 0-2. Amerlan has some good stuff, but as I said, just unfortunate to pick up a couple of losses. He picked up the loss in the 14th game down in Lethbridge. Amerlan the pitch. Williams swings over the top, and he'll add 2 more Ks to his tally. So Amerlan up to 26 strikeouts on the year. So that'll bring Zane Scansy to the dish, trying to end the strikeout streak from the Dawgs. That one will be outside. That'll end the immaculate bid. One and 0 for Scansy out of Gig Harbor, Washington. Big, tall right-hander. Swings over the top of that offering. 1-1 the count. Scansy out in right field today, hitting .400 in his 12 games played. Last game he played in was the Saturday game against Energy City, which the Dawgs end up winning in extras. Scansey looked like he wanted to check, couldn't hold up, and he'll go around. 1-2 for Scansey. One and two for Scansey. A very good ending here for Amerlan. Battle that one off, did Scansey. We'll go again at 1-2. That one right off the logo of the bat. Amerlan with that bright blue glove will step onto the rubber. Takes the sign and gets set. The pitch. Outside just barely. Let's go to 2-2. Scansey thought he might have taken a stride to the dugout. He'll get to see another pitch. Giants in their all black with that orange striping. Orange and white, rather. The pitch. Scansey got a piece, but it's right into the glove of Nick Salve. The Dogs go down 1-2-3. We'll come back with the top of the second when we return here on Okotoks Dogs Baseball on Flow Sports.
Dogs fans, are you looking for a fun and exciting way to keep your young balls that are active this summer? The Dogs are hosting 3 different 3-day summer camps, perfect for players of all skill levels. Whether your child is just looking to start out or sharpen their game, they've got the right camp for you. They're also once again offering the Mat Stairs Hitting Clinic. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Visit the Dawgs ticket office or check out our website for more details and register today.
Fans, are you looking to skip the concession lineup? Use our mobile ordering option. Scan the QR code on the back of the seat in front of you or any of the cash takers located around the stadium.
So early on, the pitching has been the story. We'll see if that continues here in the second inning. Matt Rhodes will lead off for Fort Mac. 11 games so far this season, batting a .366 and has hit a lot of extra bases, 4 doubles, 1 triple, has hit 1 over the fence.
First baseman number 34, Matt Rhodes.
And a correction, it wasn't them visiting Lethbridge. They had Lethbridge come up and visit them up in Fort Mac over the last 4 games. Pitch from Baltus, that one fouled off in the direction of the berm. Anyone making a play in the stands? No, it had gone all the way out to Siemens Stadium. Let's make it 0-1. As I stated before first pitch, tomorrow is half price day. So if you're in Southern Alberta and watching from home, why don't you come to Siemens Stadium? Half price on everything in stadium. Baltus misses with the 1-1 offering. Come witness one of the best ballparks in all of summer ball for only half price. Some would say a bargain at twice the price. That one cracked off the end of the bat, but Jake Skaggs will range over for that one. 1 away for the Dogs. Sounded good off the bat, had that perfect sound that you hear if you're playing MLB The Show, but did not quite have the carry as flags in center field appear to have died down quite a bit. As it says on the ribbon board, this is voted the best ballpark in college summer baseball. So if you don't believe me, listen to the voters. Baltus settles down after the hard contact. That looked like it might have been the off speed, but it'll be a called for a strike. Baltus working well here today. As I said, went 6 innings in his last time on the mound. Baltus delivers, and that one's a swinging strike this time. 0-2. That one just a bit upstairs. And just looking at the glove, it does look like he is still wearing the same glove, which I believe is one of his catching mate's gloves. So must have done some actual damage to his own. 1-2 the count with one down here in inning number 2. And he'll get his second K of the afternoon. Young evening, rather. So Baltus has 2 to match Amarlo's 2. That'll bring forth the designated hitter, Carter Herkun. Herkun watches that one down into the dirt. Attending the University of Toronto. The DH today. Herkun. Baltus just reaching back and trying to find something extra in the back pocket, but just pulling them into the left-handed batter's box. He's behind 2-0. The 2-0 offering. Herkun golfs that one up the first base side, but it lands on the wrong side of the stripe. 2-1. And I talked to the Dawgs coaching staff about how many arms they went through in the last game against Energy City. They said, we had a day off coming up. Why not use as many arms as we can? But early in the week, you have to think Baltus will have to shoulder a bit of the load, but he's in a 2-2 position here. He sat down all 5 of the Giants he's seen so far in a battle here with the DH Carter Herkun. The pitch from Baltus. Herkun safety swing. We'll go to 2-2 all over again. Herkun's first year with the Giants here, has played in 10 games thus far. Batting a .286. Baltus looking to sit him down here. That one's right across the middle of the plate. Herkun gets good contact. That'll be the first hit of today's ball game. It'll just be a single. He's held well there. Scansey got to the ball quickly, but first hit of the ball game goes the way of the Giants. That'll bring forth Connor Rainey. Rainey batting .226, the left fielder today. Attending Dakota State University. He was 1 for 4 on Sunday against the Bulls. Went 1 for 4 in both his appearances over the weekend. Of course, as I mentioned, it was a 4-game set. He played in 3 of the 4. Best appearance against Lethbridge was the Friday, where he went 2 for 4. The 5-0 victory over the Bulls. Got a called ball on the first offering and hits this one off around the logo. Will that be a bloop single? It will land fair. And the Giants now have runners on the corners. That one was cut off by Ricky Sanchez. Those little bloop singles can kill ya. Rainey finds his way on base. Connor will hand off to Connor. Of course, I mean Connor Rainey handing off to Connor Martin. Martin, the center fielder today. He's coming to pitch this last year, rather. Hasn't been on the bump this year, but not doing so well at the dish, only batting .111. Takes a call that I think could have gone either way, but it is a ball from Marcel Rosetto, the home plate umpire today. One and 0, and Baltus went from operating very quickly to slowing it down. Peeks over his shoulder, delivers top of the strike zone. That'll even it up 1-1. By top of the strike zone, I mean the very tippy top of it. Didn't expect to see Marcel Rosetto point to his right. Trying to paint the outside corner there was Baltus, doesn't get the call. Did say that Martin was listed as a pitcher on the roster, but has yet to touch the bump here this year for the Giants. He's appeared in 6 games as a fielder, including today where he's out in center field. Pickoff attempt to first, not in time. Playing the tag there was Elsner. That's a quick pickoff move from Baltus too. Sometimes when you've got a righty on the mound, you don't expect to see him twist and turn that quickly. Baltus delivers. Fouled off the foot of Connor Martin. So that'll even it up again, 2-2 the count. Looked like it bounced off the back foot as Martin was kind of shaking that off, and Rosetto will take a few steps into the infield grass, give Martin a bit of time to shake that one off. This allows Baltus to consider what he wants to do. Checks over his left shoulder, does send the pickoff attempt. Elsner applies the tag, not in time. I'd be so nervous when you're throwing that pickoff attempt, knowing you got a runner at third if that ball doesn't find Elsner. It'd lead to the first run of the game, and Martin battles that one off over the berm. Heads up to the walking taco shack. One of my favorite ballpark snacks down here at Siemens Stadium, the walking taco. We'll go to 2-2 all over again. Brady Baltus staring down center fielder Connor Martin. Martin waggles the bat. Pitch put high into the air, but it's shallow. Racing his way in is Caden Williams. Plenty of time, plenty of range. The Giants threaten but do not score. We'll be back with the home half of the second inning when we return here on Dawgs Baseball on Flow Sports.
Well, fans, it's time to see if true contestants are faster than our dog. Diggy's pretty fast. Will we see if Alec and Gracie are faster than Diggy? Well, let's find out. Place your bets now. Here we go. On the count of 3, I've got 2 All-Star tickets up for grabs if you win. 1, 2, 3, go! Here they come! Here they come! Oh, come on, Diggy! I think you're like your win. Oh, that's 2 All-Star tickets heading your way there, my friend. And if you want to get some tickets, get your tickets today online or at the Dawgs office. July 19th is our All-Star game.
Oh, we just had the "Are you faster than the mascot Diggity Dog," and Diggity's over 2. Greyhound, he is not this season, it would appear. Will be Barry Eisman leading off for the Okotoks Dawgs, the Tampa, Florida native attending Reinhardt University. He's got the hot bat so far this year, batting .422. His last appearance was the Saturday game where he came in as a pinch hitter, where he did get walked. Came in as a pinch hitter, yep. But his last time playing the field, or having more than one at bat, was against Medicine Hat, where he was 3 for 4. So what can the Iceman do today? He also was a first base coach on Sunday, on Father's Day. Got those orange cleats as he watches that one bounce in. 1-0 the count. miscredited it as Jason Areola, who was the first base coach, but was Barry Eisman. Eisman stands in. Says that one's a little too low as well. Let's go to 2-0. And we're going to have a meeting here between Rossetto and the coach for the Giants. I don't know if he's saying I need to watch for something or you need to watch for something or what, but not often you see that happen this early in the ball game. Certainly going to set the timing off for Barry Eisman here. Twists and turns, but doesn't get the call. Apparently, it's 2-1. It's not something you see often with Marcel Rossetto, is those wide of a strike zone. He's known to have one of the tighter strike zones down south. And was that one in the strike zone, Mr. Rossetto? I don't think so. Let's go to 3-1. Sends Barry Eisman scampering off towards his own dugout. Readjusts the gloves. Steps back in. Barry, definitely one of those look good, feel good, play good players with the custom cleats. And he'll take a free 90 feet. He's been walked to first. I think it could have been a 4-pitch walk in a lot of scenarios. The Dawgs not going to argue with having a runner on base as the Crows show steps into the dish. Batting a little bit lower in the lineup than he would have maybe expected. And he's only batting at 365 this far this year. Only, I say. In the 5-hole today, batting the 6-hole against Energy City. He'll take an offering once again out into the left-handed batter's box. Eisman dancing around at first, not drawing a ton of attention. That one in the dirt again. Arguably, that would have been the 7th straight ball if Marcel Rossetto hadn't called the pitch that was borderline on the right-hand side of the plate from my vantage point. But Croson ahead 2-0. Marlowe not really even paying attention to first base, but hasn't found the strike zone here against Connor Croson. I can understand pitching around Connor Croson as he was hitting a ball over the fence nearly once every 2 games at the University of Montevallo. 3-0 the count. Eisman on first. The delivery, Croson swings. Swung on a 3-0, Connor. The unwritten rules. Gasp. Almost looks like he was looking at me saying, what rules, Conrad? But he's now in a 3-1 spot. Eisman still at first, gets a little bit of a look from the lefty Marlowe. Croson swings over the top of that offering. Let's take it to a full count. The large black bird, I don't know if that's a crow, flies over Siemens Stadium. Could it be an omen? 3-2 and a pair of free passes, the only omen that bird brought. So runners at first and second, and gonna have a mound visit here. That gives us a little bit of an opportunity to take a look around the Western Canadian Baseball League. It's an inter-division matchup as the Sylvan Lake Gulls visit the next-gen patch at Cairns Field. They trail the Berries 2-0. Moose Jaw Miller Express and Swift Current 57s, they're knotted at 0 through 2 in the top of the third. And in the top of the second, the Bombers trail the Mavericks by a score of 1-0. That'll bring Jake Skaggs to the dish here as the Dawgs looking to strike now with a runner in scoring position. Barry Eisman at second base. That one spiked in the dirt. Gonna be a delayed steal. Croson also very late to go as that ball couldn't be found. The call is safe after a rolled ankle. So both Dawgs advance after Nick Save couldn't find it in his feet. Hopefully Mike Richards is okay over there at third as he's still favoring that left ankle. That one dropped, but it's going to be another called ball. So let's call it one strike in the inning here for Asha Marlowe. Don't take the bat off your shoulder. That one catches the outside, so maybe now you can swing your Jake Skaggs, even though he was kind of looking at a plate in the right-handed batter's box where he thought that ball was. 2-1, they count to Skaggs. Gets another one in a very similar location. 2-2 the count. Jake Skaggs out in center field today. Big, tall lefty. Swings and he'll strike out as he fouls it off into the glove of the catcher. So one down for the Dawgs. So that will bring forth Steven Elsner. Elsner played in 3 games so far this year. Played the Saturday against Energy City. Went 1 for 4 and had a double in that game. Do believe that was DH duty. Infield in for the Giants. As the first pitch, Elsner down in the dirt. 1-0 for the first baseman wearing those bright pink gloves. Obviously today, our tribute to our health workers today here at Siemens Stadium. So you heard in the intro, shouted out a ton of them in attendance today, as that's a called strike for Elsner. So shout out to you and any healthcare workers we have that are friends and family watching from home. Elsner swings at that offering and fouls it off in towards our fans watching along the first base line. Marlowe will step off the rubber, regather before marching his way back to the top of the mound. The lefty all the way to the right on that rubber, changing up the angle a little bit. Oh, and Elsner fouled that one off. Straight back. Sends the Okotoks Dawgs back kid scrambling for that one. So we'll do the 1-2 all over again. As I mentioned, toes right on the top of the infield grass for the Giants. 1-2 to the power hitter Elsner. Elsner sends that one flying a long way, but needs to straighten out the flight path. It'll be into the Arcandi outdoor batting stations, or the outdoor training center rather. Steven, just avoid the brand new glass fronted windows over in the new training center. That's all I ask. The 1-2. Gonna get a call, third strike over the outside part of the plate. 2 more Ks for Marlowe. That's 4 by my count. That'll bring Eric Matchy to the dish.
The second baseman, number 13, Eric Matchy.
Matchy's had a stellar year defensively, but just above that Mendoza line, batting .233. Mendoza's .220, if my brain's all correct. But still lots of season left to improve that, and his play at second base has been stunning, but he'll take a called first strike here. Pitch to Machi. Off speed on that far side. And the Dawgs need to do some damage. Leaving runners in scoring position has been the story of the Dawgs this year and also early last year. So Machi got to try and solve that problem. Try and punish those two leadoff walks. That one well outside. Good job not to chase. Really need to find a way to punish those opening walks here as two Dogs have sat down without being able to make contact. Well, foul balls don't really count as contact, do they, fans? I don't think so. The 1-2 count to Matchy. Safety swing puts that into the outdoor training center. So we'll do the 1-2 all over again, just like the time warp. Matchy knocks the clay off his cleats before stepping back into the batter's box. As I said, we'll see the 1-2 all over again. Matchy swing and a miss. And that's the way to answer for a pair.
Third inning presented by Bottle Vodka. Great vodka for our friends in the country world. Hashtag Bottle Up.
All right, so we'll head to the top half of the inning here. Zach Kavanaugh leading off. So Kavanaugh was the late addition. Is that one put high into the Okotoks skies? Will it be off the wall? It'll be over it. So finds the first pitch swinging, and that'll find its way over the fence. And the Fort McMurray Giants take a early lead on a first pitch swinging. So as I mentioned, the late ad was on the roster, or had a player's name crossed off on the roster to add him in, and Giants getting paid off for that decision. Baltus delivers, and the Giants starting to see Baltus well here swinging at the first pitch. So you might have to change your approach here for Brady Baltus, as Giants up to 4 hits. Didn't even have time to tell you who was at the dish as we were back to the top of the order there, as Elijah Olival finds his way on. They'll pass off to Miles Murphy. And Murphy to the hot corner. Croson goes to second, but Matchy can't get it on the line. It'll go down as a fielder's choice as the hot corner fields the hot shot to chop down Oliball and at least get one, but the plate approaches from the Giants get on Baltus or quick in the count. There's 3 pitches and we're already 3 batters through this Giants order. Darcy Berry steps in the dish now. And that one will get away from Chase Logan, or rather, yeah, it is Chase Logan. Logan, the younger of the Logan clan to come through. We have a press box divided here. Some Oilers fans, some Panthers fans, and I'm hearing some excited sounds from the other side of the press box. Baltus missed that one, 2-0, and you have to imagine after one over the fence, then a couple of hard hit line drives, your pitcher's confidence might be a little shaken, but Baltus have to get in it here, and that one put high in the Okotoks sky. Will it stay in play? It'll be watched into the seats by Elsner. So let's go to 2-1 the count here. So today's shorts, or it is shortstop Darcy Berry. 5'9" sophomore attending Dakota State University. Second year with the Giants. Here's the offering, and that one will be laced into the gap. That'll score another run more than likely. Yeah, the green lights go on, and a RBI double, and the Giants, in their second time through the order, starting to see Baltus very well. That'll bring forth Matt Rhodes and a meeting on the mound. And eventually Joe Sargent will join them, but as I said, I think it's just the case of the Giants hitters seeing what Baltus wants to do very well and starting to rack up the hits. So Darcy at second. I'll bring in Matt Rhodes, who's listed at 6'5". I don't know how much of that I believe. Doesn't seem that tall from my vantage point. Baltus checks up at second. Gets a called strike on the inside. We'll go to 0-1. That one was headed right towards our windows in the press box, and Baltus now ahead 0-2 in the count here to Rhodes. One away, but the Giants have put 2 on the scoreboard. That one off the end of the bat, blooped into shallow center. Will the Dogs get there? They will not. That ball will drop, and there's now runners on the corners for the Giants. Just an end of the bat single. You saw both Matchy, Skaggs, and to a lesser extent Sanchez trying to race their way out there, and Sauve now steps into the batter's box. Nick attending Okanagan College, batting .250 on the year. Swings and misses at the first pitch he sees this AB, and a little bit of tension here in the Siemens Stadium stands as the Dogs bats have been just like the Katy Perry song. They've been hot, then they've been cold, so you don't know which side's going to show up. Called strike there for Baltus. So if a team puts up some runs early, it's going to be a tough hill to climb for the 2025 edition of the Okotoks Dogs as they look to go for their 4th championship in a row. Baltus checks up on first. Once again, an 0-2 count. Just missed with that one. Let's call it 1-2. Baltus again takes a check up at first, elects to throw home, and that one will be fouled off in the Okotoks skies. It's turned into quite a nice night. We're saying it's now 21 degrees here in Okotoks, Alberta, so a very pleasant early summer evening. 2 runs, 6 hits for the Giants. Zeros across the board for the Dogs. That one hit in the direction there of Zane Scansey. Scansey pulls that one out of the sky, but that will score another run for the Giants. So the sacrifice fly will bring home the 3rd run of the top of the 3rd inning.
The designated hitter, number 17.
That'll bring forth Carter Kuhn. Kuhn attending the U of T, as mentioned, listed at 6'3". That one I might believe a little bit more. Baltus yanked that one too far out of the strike zone. 1-0 to Herkun. Herkun fouls that one up. We'll go to 1-1. Herkun is 1 for 1 on the afternoon, or evening rather. He gets a good piece of wood on that one. Does it stay fair? It will. That'll be extra bases. Scansey relays as quickly as he can. It won't be extra bases, but it will be runners on the corners yet again for the Giants. A rough inning here. As I said, you might rely on Baltus for some longer innings, but you have to wonder about the confidence here. You're getting hit around a little bit. Connor Rainey steps to the dish, batting a .226 on the year. Again, just yanking that ball. Looks like he's reaching back, trying to gather as much heat as he can, but just not finding the strike zone. Rainey had a single to right in his first AB of the afternoon. Swings and fouls that one up. Let's go to 1-1. With 2 away here from the Dogs, trying to limit the bleeding. Nobody even starting to throw the football in the Dawgs dugout yet. They do believe in Baltus to cover some big innings here on the first game of a heavy baseball week. Gets the call on the outside corner. And Rainey says, are you sure about that one? Call is the call. Marcel Rosetto holds up 1-2. That one yanked a little bit further, and good job by Chase Logan to make sure that one didn't get behind him. So 2-2, evened back up. The 2-2 offering from Brady Baltus. Gets the call, third strike. The Dawgs end the inning. But they do see 3 cross the plate for the Giants. Can the bats finally come alive for the Dawgs in the third when we return here on Home Team Live? Or rather, Flow Sports, I apologize.
We love our season ticket holders, and when Bonnie said, I think I can beat Leo's toss, I said, you have a pretty big shot at it. Make some noise for Bonnie. She's been a season ticket holder for years, and she's going to be doing Leo's nice toss. All right, glad you're right there, Bonnie. You have 3 chances, all right? We're going to go throw number 1. You're lingering up with the Dawgs. All you gotta do is get in this roll. Here we go. Throw number 1. That was really good. Number 2 is the money. All right, let's go crazy for the last row. Let's make some noise in the stadium. It was so close when you were up on. You still get a prize from Leo Stafford and an enormous round of applause from Stevens Stadium.
Number 16, Chase Logan.
So Chase Logan steps into the dish. He is a late add to this Dawg squad as they mentioned, Lynn Benton Community College headed all the way to their World Series for their division this year. So came back up with Andy Sargent. So only his second game of the year. Takes a called ball on his first offering and trying to find the strike zone here is a similar way to lead off the inning from Marleau, but we all know how that last inning ended as there's still 0 hits on the scoreboard. Led off with 2 initial walks and just reaches into the back pocket, fires a blistering fastball, but behind 3-0. You have to think the heat's coming once again. And it's inside, 4-pitch walk issued. But the velo is certainly there. So that's the first OBP on the season for Chase Logan. So we'll head back to the top of the order. Ricky Sanchez steps into the box. You can always tell when Ricky Sanchez steps into the box by the sounds of the Okotoks Dawgs faithful. Marleau takes a glance to first, ends up delivering home and fires a strike to Ricky Sanchez. Sanchez struck out in the first, looking for some possible redemption, and he'll foul that one off up the third baseline. Down 0-2 once again. Ricky Sanchez filling in the at the leadoff position. Obviously, that was Tucker Zadunix for the last 3 years. Here, the pitch to Sanchez. Down in the dirt, Sanchez throws up the stop sign for Logan. Let's make it 1-2, and I do have an update on the out-of-town scoreboard for the NHL. I'll give it a little bit. I know there's probably some people who don't actually want to know. So mute for the next 5 seconds if you don't want that to be spoiled. Florida Panthers up 3-0. Okay, hopefully everyone's back with me. The 1-2 delivered to Ricky Sanchez. Outside, 2-2 for Ricky. So I'll hopefully everyone's rejoined us here. Ricky trying to get the first crack of the game for the Dawgs here still. Now that'll hit Ricky Sanchez. So much like we saw in the second inning, a pair of free bases to start off for the Dawgs. So that's 4 free bases for Okotoks, 0 hits. Caden Williams steps to the plate. The Pittsburgh State University, but Emporia-born player. Gets a called first strike. He struck out swinging in the first. So 0-1 the count. Marleau didn't like the first sign, nodded at the second. Takes 2 looks to second, and Williams squared to bunt, but pulls it back. You know, I would have expected that of Ricky last year in the playoffs. Advanced the Dawgs past the Gulls off a Ricky Sanchez squeeze bunt single. But Caden Williams is Pittsburgh State University teammate. Squared to maybe do the same. Squares again. Pops that one almost right into the broadcast booth. 1-2. Hopefully Mike had his glove on and was ready for that one. Headed almost right to our PA announcer. So 1-2, the count to Caden Williams. After he popped that bunt up way higher than he'd wanted to, so he'll probably be swinging here. Tips it off. I didn't hear it myself, but luckily Marcel Rosetto did. Once again, it's Rosetto, your home plate umpire. Kerry Davis at first. Mike Richards, technically the third base umpire, even though he's closer to second here. It looks like Mike's doing all right. He did roll that ankle earlier in the game. Takes a peek at Logan at second. Ooh, Caden got the bat off his shoulder. Managed to check up. 2-2, the count to Caden Williams. Good pitch there from Marleau to try and just get him to bite at something down in the dirt. Williams said, no, sir. Peek over at Logan at second. Delivers. That one's well away. All the way into the right-hand batter's box, so a full count to Williams, and both runners advance for the Dawgs. But we've seen this story before in the second. Dawgs had a pair of walks instead of a walk and a hit by pitch. Both advanced to third and second, but could not cross the plate. The Dawgs yet to have a hit in today's affair. Williams steps back into the box. 3-2 the count. Pitch well outside. Bags full of Dawgs without a single hit. Giants do have someone warming out in the bullpen. You have to wonder how long the leash is going to be for Amarlo. Zane Scanzi will step into the box after a communication between Save and Amarlo. Oh, and this might be the end of the day for Amarlo as a mound visit now comes. Yeah, it looks like they will be taking the ball from Amarlo after 4 walks and a hit by pitch. So that will be the end of the day for Amarlo. Amarlo goes 2 innings, doesn't allow a hit, but walks 4. Can't exactly tell who they've sent in. Looks like that's KJ Jones, number 15. It is. KJ Jones has only appeared once this year. Only managed to go .2 against Energy City in a 14-0 rout from the boys from Edmonton and area. He has a 27 ERA. So Dawgs batters may be salivating here, seeing the right-hander. So KJ Jones, the right-handed pitcher out of South Suburban College, also plays third base, and according to Pitch Perfect Game, also can catch. So a man of many talents. Played for the Toronto Mets, according to Prep Baseball, out of the class of 23. Committed to South Suburban JUCO. Throws his fastball at 85 inside to Scanzi. Rather, we'll go to the 1-0. None away for the Dawgs. No hits, but the bases loaded. Walk, hit by pitch, walk. How he got to this point. Scanzi fouls that one off. Will it be far enough? It will get out of play. Sends children ducking and covering out on the berm. Looks like everyone's all right over there. The count will go to 1-1. Call that one about 4 rows out of play. Here at Siemens Stadium, the house that Don built. Don Seaman here for his 100th birthday on opening day. AJ Jones delivers. That one bent back in. Scanzi shakes his head in disbelief. That one gets called a strike. 1-2 here for the Campbellsville University attending out of Gig Harbor, Washington. Can Scanzi get the first crack of the game for the Dawgs? Maybe score a couple. That one down in the dirt, blocked well this time by Save. 2-2 the count for Scanzi. First batter faced by KJ Jones, and the Giants already have another arm starting to loosen up in their bullpen. Jones taking his time. I'm surprised Scanzi hasn't asked for time and stepped out of the box. Jones eventually comes set. Pitch, Scansey pops that one. Will it get its way out of play as well? Yeah, only 2 rows this time, but staying alive on a couple of just out of danger foul balls for Scansey. So let's go back to the 2-2 for Zane Scansey, playing in right field today. Swings, and that one will be pulled foul once again. Fielded well by the person guarding that on the field bullpen for the Giants. Ricky Sanchez will jog his way back to second. Caden Williams will trot back to first. Of course, Elsner on third. Scansey at the dish, the 2-2 offering. Scansey rips that one. Double play ball possible. And it will be a double play turned by the Dawgs, or turned by the Giants, but it will allow the Dawgs to score their first run, but again, yet to score a hit today.
Number 28, Barry Iceman.
That'll bring forth Barry Iceman. As I mentioned, batting .422 on the air. He'll get a piece of that ball. It'll get down. That'll be the first crack of the game. And the Dawgs will score 2 as Ricky Sanchez trots his way home.
And the first crack of the game brought to you by Prime Family Chiropractic.
So finally getting a hit, and the Dawgs only trail by 1.
Number 10.
That'll bring forth Connor Croson. That ball we had a ball get away from the dugout out in the left. Croson tried to paint that line down the third base side. He's chesting that bat. Didn't like how it sounded, but not quite broken. So 0-1 the count to Croson. Croson lines that ball up and didn't sound great off the bat either, but it will find grass. Dawgs bats starting to wake up as they got runners at first and second with 2 away here in the bottom half of the third. Said KJ Jones did only go 2/3 of an inning in his first appearance. Now starting to get batted around a little bit by the middle of the Dawgs order. Jake Skaggs comes to the plate now. Batting nearly 300 on the air. But 0 for 1 on the evening. 14 for 47 coming into today's game. Gets a called strike on the first pitch he sees. Can Jones get out of the inning? Is the question you have to be asking. Jones, not the dominant force on the mound. I guess he's about 5'8". Don't have official heights for him. But gets a swing there from Skaggs. Skaggs down 0-2. Skaggs steps in, down 0-2 to Jones. Gets a piece of that one, hot shot. Hopefully everyone's okay down that third base line. We'll do the 0-2 all over again. Iceman at second. Croson at first. But 2 away, 0-2 the count to Skaggs. AJ Jones, the pitch. In the dirt, knocked down well by Save. We'll go to 1-2. Jones eventually climbs the mound once again, surmounts that mountain, stands on its summit, takes the call from Save. That one's down in the dirt, and Iceman gonna try and take third. He's out. So we'll see Skaggs again, but the Dawgs caught stealing. And we'll be back with the 4th inning of baseball here from Siemens Stadium when we return on Flow Sports.
Fourth inning is presented by First Credit Union. When you're looking for a house or mortgage, save towards your next big purchase, or just looking for a digital first day-to-day banking experience. Connect First has solutions to fit every unique situation. Now pitching for your Dawgs out of Dawgs Academy, number 9, Josh Mills.
So the Dawgs will also elect to hand off to Dawgs Academy product Josh Mills. Wish I could give you a pitch mix for Josh, but I don't have it. And Josh Mills takes that number 9 from Lou Anderson, who, as we know, picked up an injury in game number 1, so gets to use that number as long as Lou is out.
Center fielder number 5, Connor Martin.
And the first person he sees at the dish will be the second of the Connors, Connor Martin, at the dish. Nice pitch from the Dawgs Academy product. Looked like he went off speed for pitch number 1, and it just spun its way back over the plate. So Mills against someone who was a pitcher last year, but yeah, as I said, has not stepped to the top of the mound this year yet for the Giants. That one bounced in by young Josh Mills. You do get that opportunity sometimes with these early week games to get some of those academy pitchers into the games. Not as much pressure, not as much attendance. I'm not going to say today is poorly attended by any stretch of the imagination, but not the 8,000 that we announced on the home opening night. So just tunes that pressure down slightly. Two and one after a couple pitches in the dirt from Josh Mills. Chopper up along the first base line. Mills and didn't have the communication there with Elsner, as didn't know if he was playing the ball or covering, and that'll be an infield hit for the Giants, Connor Martin. Yeah, as good as the Dawgs black team is that gets to go to the perfect game black, you do take a step up and need to have that step up in communication, step up in play when you'd come join Dawgs Collegiate. Young lefty fires. That one's a little bit high. Couldn't get it to fall its way back to earth. 1-0 the count. And Mills had to warm up quickly. I only saw him stand up when there was about 2 outs in the bottom of the previous inning. Gets a called strike there on the outside corner right at the knees. On Zach Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh, in his last at bat, put one over the left field fence. That's a long pickoff there from Mills. Might need to speed that up for the next level. But Kavanaugh, yeah, 1 for 1 with 1 home run. Mills will check up on the runner once again. Getting Steven Elsner involved in the game a little bit more, as I said. Late joining the crew. Runner goes, and that one will be popped up into left field. Racing in is Williams. He won't get there. The shallowest blooper. Uncharacteristic here from the Dawgs. So we'll go back to the top of the order, and we'll go all the way back to Elijah Oliball. Oliball 1 for 2 on the afternoon, averaging .302 on the season. Looked like he was priming to bunt, didn't get the bat into the strike zone, and takes a called strike. Makes sense laying down a bunt in this 0-1, and you've already seen this young combination of pitcher and new first baseman not have the greatest communication. And painting the corner there, Josh Mills. Putting Oliball into an 0-2 count. So signs pointing to swing here for Oliball. Checks up at second briefly, delivers home. That one just missed the strike zone. 1-2. Mills trying to work to the outside corners on Oliball. Not yet to challenge inside to the left-handed batter. Lefty on lefty, and good stop there from Chase Logan. Younger brother of Gavin Logan, who was part of the Dawgs championship squad. That one's put in the left field. Fielded well by Williams. They won't test the arm of Caden Williams, but it will be bases full of Giants. As I correct the scoreboard, it is 3-2 for the Giants. Forgot that Ricky Sanchez crossed the plate, so fix that up for you watching at home, but we'll hand over to Connor Murphy. Correction, Miles Murphy. I don't know why I thought Connor Murphy. Thinking of hockey, I think. Miles Murphy in the box. He'll sky his first off pitch that he sees. Connor Croson will field in foul territory. The Dawgs finally have an out. That'll make it a little bit easier for the young pitcher, and you'll probably see Dawgs infield with toes on the front of the grass. I'm correct. Incorrect, rather. They'll play standard here with Darcy Berry stepping into the dish. Barry is 1 for 1 and just crossed the plate once. First pitch to Barry, swing and a miss. Finally starting to work inside, but it is a right-handed batter. So working that left side of the strike zone. Oh, his right, our left. 0-1 count to Barry. Barry pulls that one foul. Commanding position now for Mills ahead. 0-2. Gets the Jaws soundtrack here ahead in the count. 0-2. Pressure on the shortstop for the Giants. Mills will step off. Reset. As will Barry. 0-2 delivered to Barry. Barry will knock that one foul. We'll go again. Josh Mills attending Foothills Common High School here in Okotoks, Alberta, part of the Dawgs Black Travel Squad. Getting his opportunity to come in as an affiliate pitcher. Has not made a commitment yet. Misses that one, so we'll go to 1-2. So for a young pitcher, his fastball, fastest recorded, was 87. So lefty, young, throwing 87, not with a commitment yet. That one just spun out of the strike zone. Let's go to even 2-2. Has a change, a curve, and a slider as well. That changeup at mid-70s, pretty, well, let's call it the high 70s, in and around 78, 79. The curve, though, can drop all the way down to 66. Swing and a miss. Josh Mills, his first strikeout with the big collegiate Dogs, and dug himself into a bit of a hole, but trying to work his way out of it. As the infielders will, other than Connor Croson, will step with their heels on the grass. That'll bring forth Matt Rhodes to the dish. Rhodes doesn't like that one. He'll watch it into the dirt. 1-0. Rhodes 1 for 2 on the afternoon. 15 for 41 on the season. Does have one home run. That one just missed from Mills as well, so 2-1. Swung on. It'll be fielded well there by Steven Elsner. And the young pitcher gets out of the jam. So Josh Mills, in his first inning with Dawgs Collegiate, puts up a 0. We'll be back with the home half of the fourth when we return here on Flow Sports. So KJ Jones will get another inning here for the Giants, and he'll lead off against Jake Aggs once again. As I hear there is another goal in the NHL matchup. So if you don't want to hear which way it goes, mute me for 5 seconds. Okay? Florida now up 4-0. So don't say I didn't warn you to mute for this if you're trying to not have the score spoiled. But Skaggs ahead 2-0. In the count, Dawgs trail 3-2 here in the home half of the fourth. Skaggs gets a lot of that one. Will it have enough? Backing to the wall is Martin, and he'll catch it. Heels on the warning track. Lots of contact for Skaggs, but not enough to put it over the fence. He'll hand off to Steven Elsner out of Bellevue University, playing in his 4th game of the WCBL season. Elsner up the third base line towards the bullpen for the Gulls, or not the Gulls, the Giants. I'm looking forward. I believe it's the weekend series this weekend where the Gulls and Dawgs face off once again. That one caught the top corner of the strike zone. So Elsner down 0-2 now. To KJ Jones. Jones rocks, fires. Elsner fires that one. Hopefully the concession stand behind me at the broadcast location is okay, because that one wasn't high and just missed our roof. So hopefully everyone in line for their beverage of choice is okay behind me. 0-2 once again, Elsner. Well, just chop that one right up the middle. That'll be a base hit. Just threw the bat over the strike zone, made contact, and the Dawgs now have 3 hits on the day. He'll hand off to Eric Matchy.
Number 13, Eric Matchy.
Matchy's made a couple of gems on defense this season. I talked to him on Instagram after that game against Energy City and asked him when he unlocked the ability to double jump, and he said, I have to pull that out for special circumstances. But he hits into what could be a double play ball. It will be the double play. The Dawgs couldn't answer as they're chopped down in order with that double play. We'll be back with the 5th inning when we return here on Flow Sports.
Presented by the Naughty Break, the exclusive one supplier from the Dawgs. Dawgs fans, feel the young ball player born between 2011 and 2015 is ready to take their game to the next level. Check out our Dawgs Academy fall ball and winter training. Stop by the Dawgs tickets office for all the details today.
So an unfortunate double play ends the 4th for the Dawgs. They're going to hand the ball back to Josh Mills, the youngster, doing quite well to get out of a pickle that he set himself up.
Sauvé.
But it'll be Sauvé, the first batter he faces here in the top of the 5th. Dawgs only trail by 1, so Josh trying to keep it close, and Sauvé will hit it to short, and it'll just get under the glove of Ricardo Sanchez. And as they did against the starting pitcher today for the Dawgs, Baltus, just taking that first pitch they see and finding a hole. Ricky was so close to that baseball too. But runners on the bases once again for the Giants. That'll bring Carter Herkun back to the dish, and runner goes. Logan will knock that ball down. But a steal officially recorded.
Designated hitter number 17, Carter Herkun.
Herkun will foul that offering off. 1-1. And Nick Sauvé, you don't necessarily think of a catcher as somebody that's going to try and draw all the attention, but he's been dancing over on second. I guess it isn't really the previous build of a catcher of days gone by where catcher is just going to be stout. That one gets through the infield. Both Croson and Sanchez make a diving stop to try and deny Herkun, but it'll be runners on the corners now for the Giants. First two Giants do reach.
Right fielder number 26, Connor Rainey.
He'll end off to Carter, or Connor Rainey rather, the first of the two Connors. So Connor to Carter, or Carter to Connor to Connor. Never easy on a commentator. Rainey 1 for 2 on the day, but he'll foul that one off. Puts the count to 0-1. Mills comes set. His offering. That one down below the strike zone. 1-1. Logan gonna have to do an extra good job to keep the ball in front of him, knowing the runners are on the corners. Also, sometimes if the ball goes and that runner runs to second, you don't want to make the throw, knowing that'll likely mean the runner at third is going to go, and Logan knocks the ball down. It'll be called a ball. The runner will advance that 90 feet, I did mention. Takes away the double play possibility here. Takes away the easy double play possibility, obviously still possible. That one hit hard. Backing up is Skaggs. Skaggs at the warning track, and it gets over his head. It will land. That'll be likely a triple as it bounces off the wall. Skaggs tried to time his jump, but couldn't quite catch it. The Giants will play it a pair. It's now a 5-2 lead for Fort McMurray. And Lou Pote gonna head to the mound. That will be the end of the day for Josh Mills. Good job for the young Dawgs black pitcher. His infield will give him a couple pats. And did manage to hold them to a 0 in the 4th, but a tougher 5th inning. It will be Chase Tucker coming in to replace him. So from one of the young arms to one of the vets of this Dawgs bullpen, the returning pitcher. So we'll get some heave away here as we continue. Tucker has also come in as a catcher this year. He caught both of his position players, Connor Croson and Ricardo Sanchez. This year, hasn't had a decision, but has come to play in 7 games. A 3.48 ERA, 1 save in 10 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, but only 5 walks allowed. Chase Tucker with that arm sleeve on his throwing arm. We'll have to see what the combination of Tucker and Logan have, and Tucker takes the high five from his hot corner teammate, Connor Croson. Chase Tucker out of Campbellsville University. Tucker had his first pitch soar on him. Runner goes from third and gonna be well in time. So the wild pitch from Chase Tucker clears the bases and inflates the lead to 4 runs. 6 on the board now for the Giants. Oh, and Tucker very close to plunking the next battery or the next pitch. So 2-0 the count here for the St. John's Newfoundland native. Deuces contact, but it'll be foul towards the Arcandia Outdoor Training Center. One of the members of the pitching staff to jump over the fence to go get that one. Two and one delivery here, and paints the outside corner. Let's go to 2-2. Tucker has a fastball on the high 80s, a cutter, a change in the slider. Looked like that was off speed and just had to hold that bat out, just trying to make any kind of contact there. Was Connor Martin. Tucker missed high and outside. Count now full. The 3-2 count. Tucker swing and a miss. Chase Tucker gets a strikeout. Been a couple of those from Dawgs pitchers today, but they trail, giving up 13 hits so far, and we're only a third of a way through this 5th inning. Just under halfway there. So we're not quite living on a prayer yet. Tucker finds the bottom corner, strike it around the knees. 1 ahead, or 0-1 against Zach Kavanaugh, the 9-hole hitter. He's 2 for 2 on the afternoon. Kavanaugh fouls that one off. Let's call it 0-2. And as I said last time out, I did notice that Chase Tucker's changed how he's getting the sign. He used to have that pitching arm hanging all the way down, almost on the clay, but changed that up. Croson takes it on the hop, gets it over, and it gets past the first baseman, Steven Elsner. And so that'll be an advance on the error. Yeah, Connor Croson usually automatic with that, but doesn't have his usual first baseman, Nash Kroll. But Elsner, looking at his glove, felt he could have gotten that one. Ricardo Sanchez just says, "We got it, tranquilo." So another runner in scoring position here for the Giants. Sanchez checks the runner, but scampers back to his defensive position. Back to Elijah Oliball at the top of the order. He'll foul it off onto the berm. Lots of young fans in the stands, and they just foul the baseball that they caught back into the field of play. So we pass back by one of the members of the Giant staff, but pitch delivered high and inside, and Logan a little slow to get up. Got a little hitch in his giddy up, so Marcel Rosetto will walk that ball back out to the mound with Chase Tucker. And Marcel Rosetto says there's a little bit of clay on top of the plate. Oh, and it looks like might be a little bit more of an issue here. Tucker says, "I don't like this baseball. I'll hand it off to you, Marcel." Logan has as much time as he needs to get back to as near 100% as he can. Tucker looks to second, throws home. Gonna call him out on the swing. So 2 away for the Giants. So it must have been an 0-2 count on the score, or not on the scoreboard and not on my count, but 2 away here for the Dawgs in the top of the 5th. They trail 6-2, and that one, again, just a very blooped hit, and Ricardo Sanchez will get under that one. That'll retire the Giants, not before they score 3. Giants now lead by a score of 6-2. The Dawgs will look to take a bite into that when they return for the bottom half of the 5th. We return here on Okotoks Dawgs Baseball on Flow Sports.
16, Chase Logan.
So Chase Logan appears to be okay after taking a few extra seconds to compose himself after getting hit by a stinger. Doesn't swing at the first offering, 0-1, and we have got a final in the NHL game. So I'll give you about 10 seconds here. Swing and a miss on that one. Let's go to 1-1. The Panthers have defeated the Oilers. Final score 5-0. So Panthers are Stanley Cup champions, and swinging over the top of that one for the second straight time is Chase Logan. So 1-2, the count to Logan. Logan saw the high heat, said, I'm going to leave this bat on my shoulder. Let's go to 2-2. 2-2 offering to Logan. Well outside, works the count back to full, way to battle back into this one. Dawgs trailing by 4. Giants have the lead, 6-2, home half of the fifth. And they're going to say that caught the corner. Logan goes down on strikes, goes down looking. So we'll head back to the top of the Dawgs order. Ricky Sanchez will step back into the box. Ricky 1 for 1. He walked in his last plate appearance, or rather 0 for 1, walked and eventually did score. Takes on the inside part of the plate. He's down 0-1. He's been working from behind in the counts. They have to probably get used to seeing WCBL pitching again after his little break. Chops that one to third base. Fielded well by the third baseman there, Kavanaugh. 2 away for the Dawgs. Caden Williams will step into the dish now. He was hit by pitch in his last AB. But 0 for 1 officially on the record. Strikeout in his other AB. 3 Pitt State University players in today. In Williams, Skaggs, and Ricky Sanchez. One and 0, and Williams, if that had stayed fair, it would have been labeled for at least a double heading down that first baseline. 3 Pitt State boys, they all drove up in Caden Williams' truck to get back to the WCBL. Caden wanted to have his truck here, so why bother for the rest of them flying? They'd all just come back up together. That one in the dirt. So let's move to 2-1 for Williams. Said it was a fun but long drive back home together. 3 guys in a truck. Almost sounds like a moving company. Williams, well, that one fine grass, charging in from left field and fielded well. A great catch by Elijah Oliball will retire the Dawgs. We're through 5 here in Okotoks. We'll be back with the top of the 6th when we return.
I don't know if you know this, but there's something exciting making its way to the burn. Keep your eyes out, and with that from Eyes 360, we've got ourselves a Gatling gun.
So Chase Tucker will be allowed to work another half of an inning. It looks like there's a couple arms warming in the bullpen for the Giants. Bullpen. It looks like they're all in a dance battle right now with all the music going on. Tucker, fastball inside. That'll back up Barry. Barry 1 for 3 on the night. Gets a called strike in a very similar location. Just managed to inch that one a few inches into the strike zone. 1-1 the count here for Barry. Barry 1 for 3 on the afternoon, or the evening, as I said. Swings over the top of that one. 1-2 here for Tucker. That one golfed. Will it stay fair? It will not. Caden Williams jogs his way, make sure that one got onto the Core 4 patio over that Eau Claire Distillery sign. We'll go to the 1-2 again. Tucker versus Barry. And Barry got a hold of that one. Williams watches it fly, and another one has left the yard. The Giants have 2 that have flown the fence. 2 solo shots, and David Barry touches them all. 7-2, they lead. And the Giants all celebrate together. You know why? I think I figured out why I'm calling them the Gulls. It's the orange. I'm thinking of the East Coast Hockey, or no, they're in the AHL now. San Diego Gulls, and first pitch, that one will be in range of Skaggs. 1 away off the bat there of Rhodes. He'll hand off to the catcher, Suave. Suave with a bit of a stretch there before stepping into the box. He won't swing, but it'll be a called strike regardless. 0-1 for Tucker against Suave. Suave fouls that one off the third base line. Tucker ahead 0-2 once again. We've seen this story before. Tucker takes the sign. Pitch. Swing and a miss. Down on strikes goes Suave. Now it's 2 away for the Dawgs. So a solo shot, a long shot to center, and then a strikeout for tail of this top half of the 6th. That'll bring the DH Connor Hercoon back to the dish. That one down in the dirt. And the throw back from Logan made a Chase Tucker jump to try and get it. Hercoon takes a called strike. Let's make it 1-1. A perfect 3 for 3 today. Croson makes the catch across the infield. And other than the solo shot, the Dawgs handle that well. We'll be back with the home half of the sixth when we return here on Flow Sports.
The Okotoks Dawgs would like to extend a very happy birthday to the following fans joining us at the game time. Happy 60th birthday, Sheldon. We'd like to give a big shout out to the Calgary Fire Department and our CBA group, our reporters, third base batting tonight. CBA group, our reporters, third base batting tonight. If you're interested in booking a group at Seated Stadium, stop by or call the ticket office at 403-262-3294. And fans, it is the last call to purchase your 50/50 tickets. Please visit one of our Academy players walking around the concourse or visit them at either our first base or third base 50/50 tickets. Now pitching for the Fort McMurray Giants, number 18, Winston Roberts.
On the mound now for the Giants is Winston Roberts, a Walla Walla Community College Warrior. Another lefty coming out of this Giants organization.
The right fielder, number 12.
First batter he'll face will be Jake Scanzi. Scanzi 0 for 2 on the evening tonight, as the lights are now on, powered by Fortis Alberta. He'll take a called ball. Dawgs need 5 here in the second half of the ball game. That off speed looped its way back into the strike zone. 1-1 for Scanzi. Scanzi out of Campbellsville University. Again, batting .400 on the year, but yet to get on base with today. Gets a good crack out of that one. It'll carry him off the wall. That'll be at least 2, a stand-up double for the leadoff man for the Dawgs, Scanzi. And there's a reason he's batting .400 on the year. Welcomes Roberts to the game with a hard-hit baseball. That'll bring Barry Eisman to the plate. He's 1 for 1. Orange, blue, and yellow cleats will step into the batter's box. He's hitting above .400 on the year as well. That one blocked down in the dirt there. Eisman 1-0. Eisman led off the afternoon with a walk, or rather the evening. It's tough when you go from calling games on Sunday when it's the 2 p.m. start to get your brain back into saying evening for these weekday games. A checkup with Scanzi at second, but eventually does throw home. Called strike, 1-1. So 1-1 to Barry Eisman, handling the DH duties today. Scanzi drawing lots of attention. Eisman will knuckle that one, but can't get it to drop. You've seen lots of those off the backs of the Giants just managed to find grass, but the Dawgs unable to do the same. One away. Handled well there by Connor Martin. Connor Croson now steps in the box. The Crow Show. If he wasn't a baseball player, he says he'd be a professional golfer. Wonder if he got out onto the links on the day off yesterday. Swings over the top of that offering. I'll have to ask the rest of the team that's gone out on the links how good Connor Croson's game is. Oh and 1, the count to the Crow Show. As I said, Scansey drawing a lot of attention out at second. Time is called. I don't know if that was by Croson or by the catcher. But speaking of Connor Croson, I asked him what his preferred pregame meal and said the Barbarito Bang Bang Shrimp. Likes a little spice in his life for the pregame meal. They check up on Scansey once again. High and outside. Let's go to 1 and 1. One and one with one away here in the home half of the 6th inning. Dawgs trailing 7-2. Scansey back and forth. He goes out at second. Pitch down in the dirt. Ball gets away, but Scansey will just walk his way back to second. Croson count it 2 and 2. Or 2 and 1 rather. Scansey less dancing at second until he's looked at, and Scansey takes a long secondary. Connor looks down at a called strike. Scansey's basically 2/3 of the way to third with a secondary lead. You have to think he's got to be willing to go here with the 2 and 2 count. That's a long primary and then a very extended secondary lead. Croson will dribble this one up the third baseline. It won't stay fair. And that's a tough slide by Scansey. Got the cleats into Zach Cummings unintentionally. Just had the cleats bounce up off the bag, and you do your best to keep them down, but you gotta put the hard slide in with a ball dribble down to third base when you're the runner at second. So Connor will take his time getting back into the batter's box. Croson gets set in that right-handed batter's box. The 2 and 2 offering here from Roberts. Croson looked like a bit of a golf swing there. Tracking it is Rainey, but that will allow the tag and advancement. So Scansey now only 90 feet away from home plate, but 2 away for the Dawgs. I'll bring Jake Skaggs to the dish.
The center fielder, number 3, Jake Skaggs.
Skaggs, if he wasn't playing baseball, says he'd be coaching. Takes a call on the outside half of the plate. Looked like that might have been an off-speed offering here from Roberts. Scansy is at third. Skaggs fouls that one off the tip of his bat. He'll be down 0-2. Winston Roberts stands at the top mound, delivers. Outside, let's go to 1-2. Skaggs is 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Had a couple of hard hit balls that have been tracked down by the outfielders. That's another hard hit ball, but it's right at Connor Rainey, and he'll make the play. The Dawgs strand another runner in scoring position, and they trail by a score of 7-2. I'll bring you the 7th, 8th, and 9th when we return here on Flow Baseball.
And the 7th inning presented by the egg farmers of Alberta. Alberta egg farmers are proud to provide fresh, affordable local eggs every day. Eggs are a nutritional powerhouse with 6 grams of protein that knocks it out of the park. Now pitching for your Dawgs out of Mount Hope Community College, number 22, Nate Charlton.
So the Dawgs have brought in the tall lefty, Nate Charlton, trying to hold the bleeding just to that one solo shot. Nate Charlton comes in with a fastball in the mid-80s, topping out in the high 80s, a slider and a change. A little bit of a meeting on the mound, just making sure the newest pitcher to the club, Chase Logan, knows the stuff that his pitcher is throwing. They get a lot of preseason. When you join the season a little bit late like Nate did, it's sometimes you haven't caught some of these guys, or not a ton of them at the very least. Gets a called first strike as we're back to the top of the order. Elijah Oliball. Or correction, I'm incorrect in that. It's Rainey at the dish. 2 for 3 on the night. Charlton's second offering, a little outside. One and one the count. Inside there, and looked like it might have crossed up Chase Logan a little bit, but Logan got the glove to it. 1-2 the count here for Nate Charlton's first batter he's facing of the evening. But obviously, as I said, rainy 2 for 3 on the evening, so you can find this out. It'll certainly help. That one didn't quite find the strike zone on the changeup. 2-2 the count now. Big contact here, but it's high into the Okotoks sky. Skaggs will settle under it. Heels on the back of the front of the warning track. One away. Next up to bat will be Connor Martin. Martin 1 for 3 on the evening, as the skies do eventually begin to darken here in Okotoks. Again, our lights powered by Fortis Alberta. Barely holding the bat back there. Was Martin. Charlton's next offering on the front foot fastball. We couldn't find the strike zone yet again. 2-0. Charlton attending Mount Hood Community College. Dawgs Academy product. Here from Okotoks, Alberta. Gets a swing, and that one will be fair. That'll be extra bases. Hot shot past Elsner will be a double. Just bounced right over that first base bag, and Giants threw that bat back towards their dugout and had the man in the on-base circle jump out of the way. Didn't want to get hit with that piece of lumber. So that'll bring Zach Kavanaugh to the dish, and a mound visit to Charlton. So we asked, as part of our player survey, who the greatest of all time is in baseball. Nate Charlton answered Adonis Chapman. 17 years of throwing 100 plus and very few games missed. Gotta say, that's a pretty solid answer. Most popular with the team was, in fact, Barry Bonds. Close behind those guys was some guy named Graham Bruner. Might be a little biased for the guys who answered Graham. That one just missed out of the bottom of the strike zone. Let's make it 1-0 the count here to Kavanaugh. 9-hole hitter today is 2 for 3 and has come across the plate once. Kavanaugh checks swing. That ball fair. Oh no, they're gonna elect that ruled just foul. I think Croson was trying to get to it before it rolled foul, but I think he could have gotten the runner at first, but everyone will walk back. Kavanaugh will slowly wander his way back into that left-handed batter's box. So lefty on lefty here for Charlton. Kavanaugh batting 108 on the year. Chops that one. This will stay fair. Fielded by Matchy. 2 away for the Dawgs. Will advance the runner to third. And just solid fundamentals there from Matchy. 2 hands on the baseball and get the easy play at first. So now we'll head to the top of the order with Elijah Oliball. He's 2 for 4 so far in the game. Giants do have 15 hits on the evening. And Oliball gets a piece of wood to that offering. flies foul. Takes the count 0-1. Charlton likes the first sign he sees. Looked like that might have been that slider. Couldn't get the swing from Oliball. Charlton stands tall, delivers. Fastball inside. Knocked down well there by Logan. Makes the count 2-1 to the short and speedy lead-off hitter, Oliball. That one spiked in the dirt. 3-1. Logan knocks it forward. Runner at third says, I'm good. I'll just go back. I didn't want to test your wingspan for that spinning tag. 3-1 the count. 2 away here in the top of the 7th. Nate Charlton on the mound for the Dawgs. Charlton spikes another one into the dirt, and Oliball will take his free base. He'll hand off to Miles Murphy. Murphy batting 200 on the year and is 0 for 4 on the day today. One of the few 0-fers on this Giants squad. Charlton straightens up his offering. This one popped up. Machi will step towards second base, field that one. And a 0 stays on the scoreboard. Can the Dawgs add to their total? Giants lead 7-2. We'll be back with the home half when we return here on Flow Sports.
Visit the concession, grab something to eat, or maybe the Dawgs General Store. If you haven't seen, they've got these killer baseball cards of some of your favorite Dawgs players. Get them selling, they may be worth a lot here soon. But it's now time, with help from Western RV Country, for that baseball tradition. Take me out to the ball game. Take it away, Talia. Dawgs, go! Go, Dawgs, go! Go, Dawgs, go! Go, Dawgs, go! Keep it going!
Baseball superstition is sometimes weird. If we look down the first base side, the whole plethora of Dawgs bats have been tossed onto the clay in an attempt to wake them up. Dawgs being out hit 15-4 on the evening.
Number 38, Stephen Elsner.
Stephen Elsner will be the first one up to try and lead that charge to bring the Dawgs back. Elsner gets that one through the gap, and maybe superstition has worked, as he has his second single of the day, and a little bit of a slip and slide there at first base. The first pitch he sees out of the hand of Winston Roberts finds its way into left, so the Dawgs attempt to use the small ball that they've been using all year to continue their way forward today. Matchy steps into the dish. And he swings at the first pitch he sees. That'll find the left field as well. That'll be a stand-up double. Stop sign shown. And 2 pitches, 2 hits for the Dawgs. As that'll bring Elsner to third. And Matchy, as I said, standing up at second. You have to wonder if that was a plan for the Dawgs to make sure that they just didn't allow themselves time to think. I'll bring Chase Logan to the dish. Handling the catching today. He's 0 for 1. He'll swing at the first pitch he sees. The bouncer will lead to 1 away, but that'll be an RBI. And Rome wasn't built in a day. The Dawgs bring the deficit to 4. So let's head back to the top of the order. Ricardo Sanchez will step in. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Struck out the first time at bat in the first. Then he was hit by a pitch in the third, but he'll take a strike called here. He'll foul that one off. We'll go into 0-2 mode for Ricky. It was 5-3 put out in his only other time at the dish. So down 0-2 here. What can Winston do? Sanchez will bat that one up the third base side. He'll try and leg it out. He's there in time. A hustle play by Ricky Sanchez to put Dawgs on the corners. That'll bring Caden Williams to the dish. 1 away for the Dawgs. And the pitcher just getting his jersey tucked back in. So Winston Roberts gets that all done. Gets back on top of the mound. He'll stare down Caden Williams. Williams 0 for 2 as well on the evening. Takes the called first ball. It's high and outside. I think there'll be some rally caps of those in attendance here cheering on their hometown Dawgs. Williams, it's a called strike on the inside half. He says, I certainly agree. Marcel Rosetto. 1-1 with 1 away here for the Dawgs. Runners on the corners. Keep checking up on Ricky Sanchez at first.
Everybody clap your hands.
Ricky Sanchez does have 5 stolen bases on the air, so you have to pay some attention to the Dawgs shortstop. Called strike on the very outside corner. Evened up at 2-2. Apologies, didn't put that out up on the scoreboard for you at home. 2-2, 1 away. Caden Williams at the dish. Staring down Winston Roberts. Roberts checks Sanchez at first. Just outside. Full count here for Williams. 3-2, full count for Caden Williams. The Dawgs trying to rally their way back. Now Williams will take that one upstairs. All aboard for the Dawgs. That'll bring a mound visit forth. I don't know if the day is done for Roberts. But it will be Zane Scansey. Next one to the dish. I know it looks like it'll just be a mound visit. They believe Roberts can hold them here. The potential tying run at the dish. Sal Rosetto will be gonna walk out saying you guys have had long enough to get on the same page. Rosetto will jog back with the catcher. Nick Suave. Rather, Save, I apologize. So what can Zane Scansey do here? Potential tying run at the dish. Bases full of Dawgs. Scansey with a dribbler up the middle. There's some speed on the base pass. They don't throw. Matchy crosses the plate. Dawgs score a run. And now the tying run is at first. What a hustle play there. And they are going to rule it a hit in stadium. This will bring Barry Eisman to the dish. Eisman has 3 home runs on the year, batting north of 400. Can Barry be the hero here early in the season? But the Dawgs bats, after being unceremoniously thrown out of the dugout, they've woken up. Eisman takes the call on the outside corner. 0-1. 10 RBIs from Barry Eisman on the year. Can he tick that number over to 14 with one swing of the bat? Or will he just hand it off to let the rest of the roster do their job? He'll call time and wander his way back. Eisman steps back in and corrected. He's only hit 2 home runs on the year. 12-6 change, maybe more of a 12 to the center of the dial change there. Didn't quite get the break on that big rainbow pitch you want. 1-1 the count, Eisman. Eisman 1 for 2 on the day. Bases loaded full of Dawgs. Eisman hits it up the middle, and it gets through. 1 run is in, and digging all the way from first. Stop sign is held, and a pair of Dawgs score, bringing it back closer. The Dawgs only trail by 1. And I don't think there's many other people in the town of Okotoks you'd want to have at the dish. And a mound visit is forthcoming. And you have to think this will be the pitching change. (7-6) your score, and a pitching change is coming for the Giants. The Giants seem to be in control of this game, but after throwing the bats out of the dugout, the Dawgs hitters have come alive. And as I've often said this year, there's no port in a storm in this Dawgs lineup. So they've called in Eli McKean, 6'2" righty from the University of Fraser Valley. He's played in 4 games and has actually been a starter. Has been dinged with 1 loss against Sylvan Lake. That was all the way back on May 30th. Kind of been a middle innings kind of guy. Relied upon to go 3 and a bit in his last outing on the 12th against Lethbridge. Had 4 hits, 3 strikeouts in that affair. ERA of 2.7 though, that's pretty darn good across 10 innings. Connor Croson knows the tying run is now only 90 feet away from home plate. Out of the University of Fraser Valley. Scansey jogs his way back to third. And Barry Eisman stands at third. But Connor Croson, the Crow Show, in at the dish. He swings at the first pitch he sees. It's fair. The Dawgs will tie it, and Eisman will round second. A stand-up double for the Crow Show. And don't turn that dial, Dawgs fans. The Dawgs entered this inning trailing by 5. They've come all the way back to tie it. And as I've said, the Dawgs swinging at pitches early. They'll hand off to Josh Skaggs, or Jake Skaggs rather, trying to just continue rolling the order over. And he'll swing at the first McKean offering, and it gets through. Skaggs has now brought the lead runner home. Clapping his hands as Barry Eisman as the Dawgs have their first lead of the day. Sliced it right under the glove of the first baseman. And just beautiful small ball play from the Dawgs as they've had all year. So Steven Elsner will step to the dish. And he led off this inning. So the Dawgs have hit around to take the lead in this game. Runner goes. Elsner takes a called strike. The throw does not come. A steal from Skaggs. So an empty bag at first. Elsner down 0-1 in the count. The Dawgs now lead 8-7. Elsner will tap this one up the middle, and that one eats up the shortstop. Is the throw in time? It is. I thought Elsner had legged that out. It ate up Darcy Barry, but Barry rifled that one across. And that'll bring forth Eric Matchie. Oh, there's a disagreement going on at first base. Are you going to ask for an appeal? Nope, no appeal will come. That is Mitch Schmidt, who is co-manager of this team, went out to argue his case. As you know, co-managers Mitch Schmidt and Lou Pote this year. Good to have Mitch Schmidt back. He was the manager of the first of the three-peat teams. This match, he swings over the top of that offering. He'll go to an 0-1 count. There's all the fight in the dog tonight as they've come back trailing 7-2. They score 6 in this, the bottom half of the 7th. And that was the 12-6 change, and Matchy bends at the knees, not happy with that call. Connor Croson stands at third. Behind him is Jake Skaggs. Matchy can find something in the outfield, but he'll go down. The tag is applied, and the inning is finally over, but not before the Dawgs rally their way back and take the lead. We'll come back at the top of the 8th when we return here on Okotoks Baseball, here on Flow Sports.
$1,137.50. $1,137 going to a C ticket. A C ticket. That is C-10697. 10697. You see that on there? The big screen. That is your number. Congratulations. You're now $1,137.50. Richard. Disclaimer when he's at the Dawgs office. Thank you for supporting Dawgs Baseball. Reminder, we do post the number on our social media after every single game.
Now pitching for your Dawgs out of the University of Colorado Pueblo, number 26, Frank Flores Jr.
Now on the mound for the Dawgs, it's Frank Flores Jr. Let's see what Junior can do today. Orange glove, and coming out to the way IR. The University of Colorado Pueblo got a 337 in 8 games so far this year. 8 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts, and only handed out 2 free bases. Came out for an inning and only faced the minimum last time he was out, the 15th. That'd be Sunday against Energy City. Flores with that orange glove delivers. Powerful strike in the top of the strike zone. Called ball on the second offering of the outing for Frank Flores Jr. He's got a 4-seam, a 2-seam, and a slurve, also known as he throws gas. That one high into the Okotoks sky. Is it in range? No, just out of the range of Zane Scansey. That'll bring the count to 1-2. Yeah, the 4-seam, which will have a little bit more pace. The 2-seam with a little bit more movement, and then a slurve that'll dance all over the place. Flores ahead, 1-2. That one hit well, however. Caden Williams back at the track. He watches it up. Did he bring it back? No, it'll go. Another solo shot for the Giants, and they tie the ball game. That's the problem when you throw with velo. If a bat makes contact, it will go for a million miles. And the Giants, their third solo shot of the day. And that was Barry's second of the evening. So there is some power in those bats. Rhodes takes a called ball up high in the zone. Yeah, Barry hit all of that. 5 for 3, a pair of home runs. That one down in the dirt. Let's go to 2-0. So Flores Jr. needs to get locked back in. That one popped up into our seating area and off the top of Siemens Stadium. Hits the roof, not one of our friendly spectators. That'll take the count to 2-1. Rhodes is 1 for 4 in today's affair. Flores just checking up on his landing spot. I've seen a couple of the Dawgs pitchers have issues with what's going on and the clay there of the mound. That one popped up. That one will find the berm. So let's go to 2-2. Frankie Flores Jr. gets set. Looks over the top of his glove for the Elsner will step on first base, or he'll toss it over to Flores. 1 away. He'll hand off to Nick Suave. Nick Suave. I apologize. I don't know why I'm saying Suave. Suave. He's hit one out of the park today. It takes a called strike. I believe that was the slurve. So leads off on the off speed. Shakes off the first call. Brings the four seam down in the zone. Ahead 0-2. I'm saying it's the four seam because that was one of the quicker pitches we've seen from Frank Flores Jr. Ahead 0-2 here to Save. Save check swing. It'll be to the shortstop Matchy. And it gets through Elsner. Oh, that's one's a tough pill to swallow here for the Dawgs. So that puts another runner in scoring position. Especially with the DH, Carter Herkun coming to the dish. Herkun takes a called strike. And Matchy's been so good this year. It's tough to see him get that error assigned to him, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. And now a runner in scoring position for the Giants. Herkun fouls that one off. I think that was the four seam once again from Flores Jr. Seems that's his setup pitch. Flores Jr. takes the sign. Looks to second, but delivers home, and he'll strike out Herkun. 2 away in the bottom, or rather the top half of the 8th. So Connor Rainey comes to the dish. 2 away, a tie ball game, and there's going to be a conversation here with Frank Flores Jr. You noticed he came out and immediately was tamping down the front half of his mound where his front foot would land. So Rainey is 2 for 4 on the afternoon. Barry stands at second. Pitch inside, knocked down and kicked away there by home plate umpire Marcel Rosetta. Runner does not go. Count goes to 1-0 for Rainey. Rainey batting .225 on the year coming into today. Flores eventually gets a sign he likes. He'll step off. Disengagement 1, not that it matters here in the WCBL. One and 0 for Flores Jr. Flores Jr. with a quick pitch. Missed out of the bottom of the strike zone. 2-0. Already had the sign from previously, so just went back to it and delivered, but couldn't find the strike zone. Flores gets the called strike, not on the swing, but on the pitch itself. 2-1 the count for Flores Jr. Looking to make sure it's only the solo shot that goes on the register. Swing and a miss. 2-2 the count. Flores now playing with his left shoe. Rainey will step back into the box. The 2-2 count. Frank Flores Jr. Swing hit up the middle. Machi fields it cleanly. Elsner gets it in the glove. The solo shot is all that crosses. We'll be back to the home half of the 8th when we return here on Flow Sports. Can the Dawgs bats stay hot? Eli McKean still on the mound for the Giants after coming and getting the last pair of outs.
Catcher, number 16, Chase Logan.
He'll lead off against Chase Logan will lead off against McKean rather. The 9-hole hitter is 0 for 2 on the evening. Takes outside for a called ball. He gets all of that baseball. Will it go? It will, off the scoreboard. Chase Logan with the 4th solo shot of the game will put the Dawgs ahead. Chase Logan got all of that baseball. And you can tell why Lynn Benton went as far as they did in their playoffs, with that being your 9-hole hitter. So a home run out of the 9-hole hitter, and the Dawgs regain the lead. And a tough day for Ricky Sanchez when you consider what he's done as a Dawg, only being 1 for 3, and he'll take a called first strike. That one down low will make it 1-1. Ricky Sanchez, he batted .406 in the playoffs last year. And as I mentioned, the bunt single leading the Dawgs through that playoff run. Good eye from Ricky. Count goes to 2-1. And as I said, this is his first game back in, let's call it, 10 days. Yeah, his last game was at Energy City, technically here in Okotoks, on the 7th. Works his way into a 3-1 count. So yeah, exactly 10 days since his last game action. And he steps back in. Dawgs regaining their lead. One batter before him. And he'll work a walk. So Sanchez on first. Now there is a pitcher warming for the Giants, and you see Save walking his way to the pitcher. And Save might have just been early there. Williams getting some words from his third base coach here. He'll eventually cross back over the plate and step into that left-handed batter's box. Runner on first, none away here in the bottom of the 8th. Led off with the long fly from Chase Logan. Williams gets a called strike. Back pick was there, but Sanchez beat the throw. So Williams looking to lay down the bunt after that conversation to see if he squares again. He doesn't. Takes the call on the outside corner. 2-0 or 0-2. Williams in a hole. The Giants not really even looking over at Ricardo Sanchez. They throw back. Sign coming from the catcher. Sanchez slides his way back in. Shakes the belt. Gets that clay out of his pants. 0-2 here for Williams. We'll go home, and Williams will swing over the top of that. Strikeout for Caden. That'll bring forth Zane Scansey. And Scansey had the single that scored Eric Matchey in the previous inning. Takes a call on the inside. He's down 0-1 in the count. Eli McKean being left in here. Try to get out of the 8th inning. Pick off at first again. Sanchez slides in safely. All sorts of clay all over that beautiful white Oko jersey. Scansy takes a strike in the upper half of the zone. Looks into the Okotoks skies, regretting not getting the bat off the shoulders there. Oh, 0-2 to Scansy. Pitch. Scansy swings. Gonna be pops to the first baseman. 2 away for the Dawgs. Pitch was in and around the hands. Real hard to get to that one. But that'll bring forth Barry Eisman to the dish.
Number 20, Barry Eisman.
Eisman had that single to center field that scored a pair of runs to open things up in the 7th. As I said, batting above 400 on the air. Didn't look like he wanted to swing at all on that first pitch. Handling the DH duties today. That one's down the dirt, and Ricky Sanchez running early, and that one bounced away, and Ricky heads up to say, I could go to third, but it was backed up well, and shortstop now stands at second base with his, I believe that's his 6th steal of the year. Eisman steps out, does up the Velcro on his gloves, and steps back in the left-handed batter's box. Sanchez not doing much dancing around at second. That one backhanded, knocked down, and it'll just be a ball as Eisman gets out of the way. Barry Eisman hit .320 at Reinhardt University last year. Batting well north of that here in Okotoks. That one down in the dirt, and Eisman's worked his way into a 3-1 count. I think the coaching staff is pointing out it is an empty base. It could, and they are going to intentionally walk Barry Eisman. Not even to throw that pitch to him. Which, I don't know. I don't know if I like that call with the man batting behind him.
Third baseman, number 10, Connor Croson.
So Connor Croson will step into the batter's box. Pro show, as I said, did nothing but mash baseballs last collegiate season. Oh, and pops that one straight back. Yeah, Montevallo, 54 games played, batted a .368 with 16 home runs. But down 0-1 here. Ooh, and that one's about as high and as inside as you can get, but still be called a strike. Croson shrugs his shoulders a couple times, shrugs it off, and says, I know what I got to do to be successful in this stadium. Local product. Sanchez dances around at second. Pitch high, 1-2 now for Croson. Sanchez knows that his dancing can throw off the pitcher, but it could also throw off his batter. Croson needs to be locked in on the pitch. Sanchez taking a decent primary lead. Didn't see the call, so. Oh, on that one, on the outside corner, a called strike. So the Dawgs take the lead with the long solo shot. They're potentially 3 outs away from taking home the win when we return here on Flow Sports.
Now pitching for your Dawgs out of the University of Colorado, Pueblo, number 31, Alex Oliver.
So Alex Oliver comes in with the save situation. His pitch mix, fastball in the low 90s, a curveball in the high 70s, a slider in the low 80s, and a change in at around 80. He steps in to stop when the red lights flash. Connor Martin will be the first batter he sees on the other side. That one looks like it might have been the slider. Change of pace and gets the swing over the top from Connor Martin. 0-1 for Oliver. Gets a call on the bottom corner, painting an absolute gem there. Oh, 2 the count to Connor Martin. Martin's choked up on the bat a little bit. Swing and a miss. A K for Oliver to start the top of the 9. Takes the ball from Croson. We're at the bottom of the order. You expect there might have been potentially some talk about a pinch hitter, but Zach Kavanaugh will step in to take his swings. Oliver just missed the bottom of the strike zone there. 1-0. Trying to stay down low here with the bottom of the order. That one right down Main Street. 1-1. Kavanaugh 2 for 4 on the evening. Oliver comes set, the pitch. That one fouled off. Oliver ahead, 1-2. Oh, I don't know where that one missed, but apparently it did. Talking more about Alex Oliver out of Grove, Oklahoma, then University of Colorado Pueblo. He's 2-1 with a 4.32 ERA. No saves yet on the year. Gets the call. 2 batters, 2 Ks, 1 forward, 1 backwards. And he'll head to the top of the order, or it is Elijah Oliball who he will face. Oliball is 2 for 4 on the evening, but Oliver sat down the first 2 he's seen. Looks like that was off speed, but right down the heart of the plate. 0-1 the count. Can the Dawgs be the comeback story? And Alex Oliver, can he shut the door? Oliball chops it to short. Matchy fields it on the hop. And the Dawgs comeback is complete. A great outing there from Alex Oliver. He strikes out 2 of the final 3 Giants batters. And the Dawgs are out hit by the Giants, but come forward with the W. For myself, Conrad Krauser, and the rest of our production team here at Flo, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll hand it off to Peter Klein for the second half of the 2 games in 2 nights. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, same teams. See you then.
And catch all the season's biggest moments. And at FloCollege.com, if you want all baseball excitement, that's FLO.